Hi and welcome to this episode of the Author Spotlight. I'm very, very pleased to say that we've got Lesley Strachan with us, the author of The Ultimate Guide for Parents. We've also got online with us today Lesley Pine as well, who will be here to ask any questions. And please, for yourself, if you've got any questions at all, make sure you put them in the link below and we'll make sure that Lesley comes back to you and answers those for you too. So Author Spotlight is our opportunity to share with you the journey of our authors, sharing their book, but also the highs and lows of being an author to inspire you to get your books out there. So Lesley, tell me a little more about your book writing journey. That was like what?
Oh, 6 months ago, probably, I think. I started this, and I kind of always wanted to write a book, but never really had a topic in mind. So this process has been very quick for me because all of a sudden it twigged, and then I just wanted to get out to market and get the book sold. So it's been very quick for me.
And so when it clicked, what's that about? What happened when it clicked for you?
I have been teaching in secondary schools, colleges and higher education for a very long time, and it's always bugged me that young people really never knew who they were or what they wanted. And I would say to them, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? And they go, and you get comments like that. And it frustrated me for a long time. So because I'm a Jack Canfield trainer, I started to introduce some concepts into my syllabus and stuff like that. And I thought, I could write a book about this because I've got so many stories to tell and so many good reactions to some of the material that I've been using. So I thought, right, okay, so when I was teaching up in London last November, I used the time on the train to start structuring what a book might look like from chapter 1 to chapter 12. And strangely enough, I found it really easy just to get going and write it because it was all from the heart, and it was stuff that I knew about and examples from students and parents. And I did lots of research with about 2,500 parents to kind of get the hang of what was really winding them up about their teenagers, apart from not cleaning their rooms and causing havoc, really.
Fabulous. Yeah. So why did you write the book?
Because I'm so passionate about young people not having any direction in life and just floating about all over the show. And I thought maybe I could make a real difference to young people's lives and their parents, which would make living with these teenagers a whole lot easier. And so that was my key, really, to change people's lives and to inspire and support young teenagers to have some sort of idea about who they were, what their personal values are, if they could do the job of their dreams, what would it be, and look at sort of alternative ways of getting them in employment, in a job that they will be passionate and enthusiastic about. And that's that's the sort of angle that I'm coming from, working with all the young people that I do.
So what's the most important thing that you've learned as part of the process of being an author in the journey to write this book?
The important thing that I've learned, the writing I was really worried about, but it ended up being quite straightforward. The one thing that I've learned is that you can't do it all by yourself. And I needed a lot of people around me who knew what they were doing to get me to where I wanted to be. So it's things like editing the book and images and how it all pans out in the book and the typesetting and all that sort of thing, and the marketing of it, because I'm a marketer by trade, but marketing the book is a completely different concept altogether. So bringing a team of people around me who knew exactly what they were doing and could project manage it made my job writing it that much easier, to be honest.
Fabulous. So what do you wish you'd known before you started?
How long it would take. Because like other speakers have said before, it's quite a long process, and you get quite depressed about some aspects of it, and sometimes you hit brick walls and you don't know how to get out of it, and shall I bother completing it? Is it worthy enough to get onto a bookshelf? And so I kind of wished I'd known before what the project looked like, and then it would have made it easier for me to actually complete it better.
And what does the project look like to you? What's your experience of it as a project now?
As a project?
Yeah, if you said you'd like to see what it was like before, if you were telling another author now what that project's like, what is that like?
It's having somebody on board who can coordinate the whole process and tell you week by week what the actual process is going to be. What I do like working about with Karen and Libertas is that there's a weekly accountability form every week, and I like that because I can start planning what I'm going to say the next week, so that I stay on track and be committed to not letting other members of the team down. So now I know the process. I'm going to wish I hadn't said this before, but maybe the second, third and fourth book will be easier because I know what to expect. And some of it for me was a bit of a tsunami of information and stuff language that I didn't know existed. So new process for me.
Yeah.
So that's what I've learned.
And I think that even now, Karen and I, when we're working with our clients, you say about the language, there's like editing, and then there's development editing, and there's proofreading, and there's grammar editing, and there's feedback and developing ideas kind of editing. So you can say editing, and there's so many different variations of it.
Yeah.
And you can say how long, and it will be different for every person because it'll depend on their perception of it. So it's an interesting process for us when we're working with people to give them enough idea that you're roughly in this phase. You've got this phase. It's much more when you get to that design part, which I know we've got a great system with Sam, particularly, who helps project manage all of us.
Yeah.
Keeps us on track with dates and times.
Yeah, and it's all things like, it's all, legal use of images and what kind of images to use. And some of the hardest decisions I found was even stupid things like what font to use and stuff like that. Yeah. And that was strangely difficult. The writing was relatively straightforward, but we went through 3 iterations of images for the front cover and about 48 different variations. And that I found really challenging for me. It was really weird, but yeah.
Well, I don't know. I'm going to put this out there and you can tell me whether it resonates with you or not. But we're talking, Leslie's actually just finished her author spotlight. And what I'm noticing when I work with people is that if they're writing their own personal story, it can be quite challenging because when you're in the writing process, because you're looking at yourself. And it sounds like your book was much more looking at data outside of you and stories of other people. And it was stuff that you'd done to help people. But when you come to the cover, it's more represented, it's representing you. So you're having to look at yourself, and the font is more about your personality, your style and stuff. And I think that sometimes we just don't look at ourselves very much, and we don't know how we want to be seen or how we want to be interpreted or what the message to be. And so that's why writing a book is so powerful, because we get so many different perceptions of ourselves through the process.
Yeah. Interestingly. Yeah, interestingly with the front cover concepts too, is when I put it out to my networks, it was sort of, how do you tie in the front cover concept to the title, and what does that mean to different people? And I'd get a mum come say, I've got 6 kids and you've only got 1 middle class white child on the book, and I'm going, oh my God. So it's really having to think about the market you're trying to sell the book to. And that was a really, really difficult challenge, to try and cover ethnic, differences, age differences, family orientation, and things like that. Yeah.
Have you got a copy of the cover? I don't know if we have, because I do believe you did get it sorted. Let's have a look at the image. I'll pop it up a bit, so I can't quite see it.
Yeah, can you see that?
Yeah, it's fabulous.
Yeah, I love it. And purple's one of my favourite colours as well. So. And the idea is, at the end of the day, we'll have happy, confident children. So that's what I wanted to get over to parents, that they can have this, but they're going to have to work through the book to do it.
Yeah, absolutely, fantastic. So, what was your lowest point on the journey?
I didn't like rereading what I've written all of the time. Because I kind of wanted to change things about all the time, and I don't like proofreading my own work, so I got my husband to do it, quite frankly. and I said, just have a look at it for the flow, and think about whether things need to be changed or not. And I think some ways, as the other Lesley was saying earlier, you kind of look at it, but you can't look at it with fresh eyes. Somebody else has to actually have a look at it. And that's where I found sending out the book to some critical, positive friends was a really great idea. And I've managed to get a lot of feedback and some, what do they call it? Some positive praise for the front of the book. So I was really pleased about that. So
How did you?
Go on.
How did you choose your positive critical friends? How did you know who was the best person to give it to?
Because I belong to the Jack Canfield group of trainers. We're all certified trainers in the Success Principles. They're a very positive group of people. So I knew that they would give me positive feedback, and I sent it out to authors and coaches of networks. And so the groups I belong to are very positive people. So I knew that if they were going to give me feedback, it would be constructive. And it was, and I made quite a lot of alterations based on their feedback. So I was quite pleased about that. Yeah.
It can be quite a big thing, letting go of your piece of document, can't it? That first time to get somebody else to read it.
I know, and I'm quite private in that way, and to put my manuscript out to people, quite frankly, that I didn't know, was quite scary for me, and that was probably not the lowest point, but the scariest point about what will people think about what I've written. And so, but you just have to push the boundaries and get it out there, and not worry about what people think, because at the end of the day, anyone who writes a book generally has a really strong message to get out there. And so who are we not to get those words out there? And that's what's in the back of my mind all the time. You don't have the right not to do this. You have to do this because it's my life, my experiences, and I want to help young people and teenagers and parents. So you have to move past the boundaries and the downsides.
So what has been your biggest success to date?
To date, having this hard copy in my hand, and I was proofreading it in Abu Dhabi. I was sat on the beach, and I thought, "Yay! I've actually managed to actually do it." And then the other highlight lately has been typing my name into Amazon, and all of a sudden my book cover comes up, and I'm thinking, "Oh God, this is it!" And it's just getting to that really exciting bit now, so you can push away all the lowest points, if you like, and actually move forward to just weeks away to being on shelves and on Amazon. So I've just got my fingers crossed that everybody buys it now.
Fabulous. So when's the official launch date?
31st of May.
31st of May 2018. I'm going to mention that just because this video could be viral in years to come, and we just don't know whether.
Yeah.
Well, I've just started reading the book, and certainly my son's just going through career change and trying to work out with us. We're looking forward to doing it as a co-coaching project together. So thank you for writing it. And already the flow and the style of it has really been easy to gel with and to make sense of. So huge thank you there.
You're welcome.
So, Lesley, do you have any questions for the other Lesley?
Not particularly. It's just an interesting observation, actually, because our books are completely different, aren't they? Mine's been very much an internal journey. And when it came to the cover and the font, I was like, I don't mind. I mean, the cover, I had several designs of, and I've got some friends, but the font, no, I don't care what its font is. They chose quite a nice one, but it's that completely opposite way round, isn't it? And that was interesting. That really.
Yeah. And I think because I come from a marketing profession, I don't know why that was so difficult for me. But I had to love the book and love the way it looks, because if I don't, then I can't expect anybody else to.
Exactly.
So that was really key for me. And because it's got tons of exercises in it as well, it had to be formatted so it all sort of flowed and looked right. So for me, look and feel was really important.
Yes. I haven't got mine yet, the copy of it.
Well, what just resonated there, though, listening to you, and I think this is a bit that we don't always understand about the book writing process, is that when you're marketing somebody else or helping other people, you're the observer of the system, aren't you? Because you've got the client with this particular thing they want to sell, and you're listening to what the consumer needs, and you're marketing to the two. But when we're selling our book, like you say, we have to be proud of it, we have to like it, we have to want to associate ourselves with it. So not only are we wanting it to resonate with the consumer, the reader, but it's also got to resonate with us. And so, and that's where I pride ourselves at Libertas. It's very much about, whereas if you do publishing deals, you might sometimes, I get the sense that your opinions will be overridden because it's about what will sell it. But actually, with the self-publishing route, it is about you being aligned with it, because it's about connecting to you as well and making sure it goes through.
Definitely. And I've got lots of interviews set up, I've got workshops set up and stuff like that, and I'm actually really proud to be able to hold my book and say, you know, this is it, and all the exercises that we're going to do today come out of the book. So I kind of feel that the book's given me a momentum. It's given me professional credibility, if you like, on which to grow my business. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote the business, was to establish. I'd done a lot of courses about how to be a consultant, and because I'd had a career change last year, and everyone kept saying, write a book, write a book, write a book. And I'm going, no, I don't want to write a book. And, you know, after a while, you get the feeling that you get messages from all over the place, don't you? And then they all start sort of becoming a volcano at the end. So in the end, I had to sort of say, okay, I'll write a book. So for me, this book is a kind of a stepping stone to writing online courses and doing workshops in schools, colleges, universities, and what have you. So looking forward to all of that.
Fabs, I have one last question that's not on the sheet, but it just come up because of what you're saying there, is that often we in life, we get given advice, don't we? You ought to write a book, or you should do this, but we're not ready to hear it. So if you could go back to your former self 6 months ago that was getting that, or even a year ago or 2 years ago, whenever you were very first told you should write a book, what would you say to yourself?
That's hard because I'm really stubborn. And so I think I have to come to those decisions myself over time, and I'm a great believer that if you hear it often enough and different people say it, and other, you know, I've explored other people who've written books and asked them about what they've done and stuff like that. So I gather a lot of research and information, and then I make the decision from there. So 6 months ago, I would probably have said, do a bit more research, ask a few more people, and I might have got started a bit earlier. But like the other Lesley, I think there is a point in life where it's the right time and the right place and the right space. And, you know, that was it for me. So my advice to other authors is that you will know when it's the right time. Don't sit in front of a computer with an empty Word document. Something, like Lesley said, something triggers something, and then you just get started. So don't stress about the writing, it will come.
Absolutely. And I will obviously develop that with another interview, I'm sure, for our book called The Author's Journey, because I'm definitely noticing that as a pattern in myself and Lesley and for you guys today, is that there is that, there's kind of that, for me, I didn't realise until I wrote it that I'd been talking about wanting to write books since I was a child, but like you said, didn't really know what the book would be. And 6 years ago, I said, I'm writing a book, I still didn't know on what. But I don't even think that my business was fully formed enough for me to write about it until 6 years later. Although I knew I wanted to write about it, I had that sense, that intuition, but I didn't have the material by then. By the time I actually got around to writing it, that was when I had all the information. And I say, keep paying attention to that little voice, because it's very easy to keep putting it off and become a pattern of not doing something with it. So
it's kind of interesting that, how do you know when there is a cut-off point and you keep putting it off, and when you know it's the right time to write? And that's quite an interesting gap for people to actually move through. But I think you probably know at the end of the day. And if like the rest of us, you're surrounded by positive people who aren't criticising you for doing it, then that's another spur to actually keep going.
Yeah. And I suppose if you were talking about that gap then between, you know, how do you identify whether it's procrastination? My work, a lot of the work is about the critic. And I would say to you, write a piece of something you want to write, tell a few people about your idea of what you've got, and listen to the feedback. But make sure the people you're asking are the kind of people who are like you, that would want to hear it, because it's really easy. We had somebody that we've just started working with where they'd shown their first piece of work, you know, a bit of bravery, and the person just pulled it apart. And it was, so if you're going to give your first piece of work out, it's got to be, you know, in your case it would be people that are childless, or somebody who's going through a difficult time with parents. It's got to be the ideal reader who people might benefit from it, because they're going to resonate with it more. And actually ask them, what do you like about it? And set yourself up for some positive feedback. You know, does it make sense? Is it flow? Does it, you know, what emotions does it conjure up for you? Whatever it is you're looking for. But it's really important if you're caught in that bit, because I hear so many times that the delay factor is because that bit where you've both talked about, where is it good enough, has started before they've even shown it to anybody. And until you get the feedback, you don't know that it's got huge value.
No, you don't. But we just have to feel the fear and do it anyway most of the time, don't we?
Absolutely, but so much easier if you've got a cheerleading team, whether it's, you know,
Yeah.
I work with Karen and myself, and Lesley, we've been very honoured to get to work with you, but whether you're working with Libra Trust or not, and anyone's watching this, it is about having a team. You've got your family, or you've got friends, people that encourage you, that want you to get the book done, because I think people underestimate the process, as you say, whether it takes 18 months or 6 months or 6 years in my case. It's a journey, but a bit like watching someone train for the marathon or whatever else. If they understand what's involved and you share it with them, people can encourage you. And definitely that end bit, like the last mile, we all need lots of cheerleaders to get us through the design and editing part.
We do, yeah. So
and everyone's got a view. Lesley, I've got to give you a thumbs up. Give you waving your book again, you superstar. Fabulous. What a great place to finish.